Hi, my name is Vesna Karapetrova and we're here today at Canadian Macedonian Place on Tuesday, August the 12th, 2014 to interview Mr. Milorad. Everybody knows him like Mile Mike Neshevich. Welcome, Mr. Neshevich, and thank you so much for coming here to share your story with us here at Canadian Macedonian Historical Society. I know that many Macedonians know you very well in the Macedonian community and know a lot about you. But to begin with, can we start with where you were born?
I was born in selo Velushina, Bitolsko. I dojdu Canada. I came here in 1939, was July. That's quite a few years ago.
Yes.
Many moons ago.
And when were you born?
I was born August 23rd, 1925.
1925, great. And how about your brothers and sisters?
I have one sister, 2 years older than me, Christina, and 3 brothers. One is 2 years younger than me, Stefan. The other one, George. And me.
And where were they born?
They were born in Velushina too, except George, the youngest brother. He was born in Canada, here in Toronto.
So at that time, in Velushina is in the Republic of Macedonia today. What was the was there an official language or name of the country?
Everything was under Serbia. Yugoslavia was called. All Yugoslavia, and we were going to schools, in Serbian school. Like I said, everything was under Serbia. I would finish Osnovna škola, they call it, the public school.
Public school?
I finished that there, then came over here. But 40 years later, exactly 40 years later, July we came here. July went back, and I walked into Velushina and Bitol and streets all over the place. Macedonian school, policia, everything. I said, Milo, I love that to see it. They greet you nicely, no? I was shocked.
Everybody spoke Macedonian, and it was very different from when you left.
Big difference. Mind you, that was 40 years ago. And that's when, I guess, Tito gave Croatia independence, and now we're in a United Nation. We can vote and so on. Yeah, big difference.
And how about your grandparents and your parents? Were they also
born? My
born?
parents, they were born in Velushina too.
Yes.
And my father came here. I guess he left me when I was about 2-3 years old, came here, and then he brought us the whole family here just before the war. My mother, my sister, me, and my brother.
Now, how about your uncles and your aunts? Where were they born?
Who?
Your uncles, aunts?
Oh, as far as I know, all of them were from Velushina.
Everybody was born in Velushina. Yeah. And what language did they speak in your village?
Macedonian, but when you have to go to school or something, you have to talk Serbian to them. Everything Serbian. The alphabet is the same. And it was beautiful to play your own, like, you know. Everything in Macedonian was just feeling good.
When you went back afterwards to visit?
Yeah.
Yes. And so your name, Neshevich, is that also?
Neshevich, under the Serbian name Neshevich. And then my uncle came afterwards when Tito took over, gave Macedonia and so on and that. They all Neshevsky, Stoyanovsky, Talevsky. You know, from Neshevich they want Macedonian name.
So because you came during the Serbian occupation, your name was Neshevich, yes. Do you remember with what kind of passports you came?
Yugoslavian passports, Serbian.
It was Serbian passports.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Mike, you were just young when you left. How old were you, did you say?
1 month short of 14.
Almost 14 years old.
13 years and 11 months.
Yeah, what can you remember of your life in the village?
In the village? Well, I was young and I was a shepherd. Take the sheep to field, 100 sheep or something, bring them back, and I used to come home with a lamb on my arm sometime. Yeah.
Yes. So your relatives, your grandparents, your parents,
All from there.
they were all from there.
Okay.
What is the name of your father? Your mother?
Dimko and Mara. Mary to Mara.
Dinko and Mara, your parents.
My parents.
And your grandparents?
Atanas. And he was married again. What was her name though? I forgot.
Okay, we'll
his name
keep it at
Atanas.
that, yeah. So from what you remember in the village, how big was your village and how many houses would you say there were?
I think it was one of the bigger villages around there. We had the schools, we had the police, we have a couple of stores there, which villages didn't have stores those days, but we had them there.
Mm-hmm.
So, to be honest, I know it was the biggest village there, but I don't know exactly how many houses.
Velushina is in the Vardar part of Macedonia.
Yeah.
And is it close to Bitola? What city is it close to?
Closer to the Greek border.
So to Lerin? Is
To
it
Lerin,
closer
yeah,
to
closer,
Lerin
yeah.
than?
I used to go over to Grashnica, with the village next to Velushina, there on top of the mountain, the monastery there.
Yes.
Yeah, I could see the villages down the Greek part of Macedonia there. Yeah.
Right, and back then were you able to go through the border?
Not legal. You got to cross the border with your passport or something.
So there was a
Yeah,
border
yeah,
and
yeah,
you had to
yeah.
have passports. So Mike, let's talk a little bit about the village, Velushina, when you were there in your childhood. Do you remember who your friends were? What games you played? Did you go to school?
We played like what they call here, like kotka, hockey out in the streets there. And we had 5 dogs in the house there. I don't know how they looked after themselves because we didn't feed them. Our village is close to the mountain. There used to come rabbits and so on. They could catch them sometime. And we'd be playing outside in the road with those sticks like hockey. And as soon as it gets a little dark, we come open the porta, like they say, could get in, and all the dogs, woo, after you,
They would all come in.
As soon as they hear your voice, they cuddle up to it. They seem to recognize something. I remember those things and remember some friends, but I forgot quite a few of them. They seem to know me, all of them here, Mile, when they come here.
Did you go to school when you were there, Mile?
Just a osnovna škola, they call it.
Like a primary.
Public school. I just finished that.
A few
And
years, grade 4, 5?
4 years, finished the public school, yeah.
And what language did you speak in school?
Serbian. Everything was on the Serbian teachers, but that's why I say when I went back, everything was Macedonian teachers, Macedonian everything, yeah.
That was 40 years later,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yes, and it's the same now,
Yeah,
thankfully.
exactly,
Macedonian
exactly.
schools and Macedonian language is there. Okay, now do you remember anything about your schooling, about having to speak Serbian? Like, did you know how to speak the language, or did you have to learn it?
Oh yeah. Well, a little different dialect, but we learned that. I could speak the language, yeah.
And in the schoolyard, did you speak what language did you speak with your friends? Do you remember?
Mostly with our boys shoot with the Macedonian. They didn't stop it from speaking. In Greece, they tell me that they don't let them speak
Macedonian.
Yeah, Macedonian. But over here, they let us. They didn't bother us,
So you still spoke Macedonian
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
schoolyard
yeah.
with your friends, and
Yeah.
that wasn't a problem.
Yeah,
Do you remember any special celebrations or something unforgettable that happened to in your life in your village?
In the village. Well, like I said before Easter, big celebration, and in the middle of the village up there, they used to make a big dance and playing there, so on. I remember all those things there. It's a boy playing there, they'd be dancing there, so on.
And what kind of songs and dances did you dance? Were they Macedonian?
Macedonian dancing.
Macedonian dancing?
And no one stopped us from that. We just sing and dance in Macedonian, but like I said, when you have to go do something, you got to do it Serbian style.
In the official?
In school, in the official, yeah. Yeah.
And Mile, you were here, you came here when you were almost 14. How did you come here? Was it with your whole family, or
Yeah,
how was it that you came to Canada?
My father was here, and he made the papers to bring the whole family here. My mother, me, my sister, and my brother, and brought all of us here same time.
And how long was your father in Canada?
I would say about 10 years,
So he left when you were very young.
almost 2, 3 years.
So you don't, do you remember your father
No.
from before you went to the
No.
village?
As a matter of fact, my brother Stefan was born after he came here. He left my mother pregnant, and he was born after. Then he got her here, so got us all together here. And he was number one father, but no luck. He died. He was only 52 years old.
But you got reunited here.
Oh yes, yeah.
Do you remember why he left the village to come to Canada?
You know how it was in the old days. If they needed a little money or something, they would send someone to America or Canada to work for a couple of years maybe and so on, and make a few dollars to come home. In the village, we used to go buy salt, as make your own wheat, make your own bread, make your everything. Then you used to send them maybe stay a couple of years or so, makes a little bit of money, come and help the family. But many of them used to come and meet another girl or something here, never returned.
That's what happened sometimes.
That's it, I remember that, yeah. So he brought us here, then.
So your father stayed here for about 10 years and then brought you over here.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little about your trip, how you came from Velushina?
Yes, from Velushina. Like I said, I've never been on a car or bus or anything till I got ready to come here. My transportation was a horse. I was like a cowboy, go everywhere. Then the first one was get on a bus or a truck, to take us to Bitola, and from Bitola take the train, and that's when I got car sick. Never been on one before, just on a bus, and took us all the way to Skopje, to Belgrade to stay overnight there to Paris.
Did you go to Paris with another train?
Yeah.
Okay.
And to Paris there, and slept there overnight, and we took the boat, like I was saying, Virginia there, and another family with us there. To go same time, go in another village next to ours, family there.
Yes.
But we ready to take the boat from Paris. They discovered a little pimple, something on the eye of the mother of the boat.
Yes.
They said, you can't go, you got to go check your doctor to clear that up.
They didn't let her.
They didn't let her, and they discovered that something. By the time they checked, it took off again. They says, you can't take that. The war started now, and there's no danger, this and that. They went back, and the poor boy was my age, like he got killed in the partisan time there,
So he went right into the war. The war, Second World War started at that time.
And then came after a while then, and the family came here with his brother and his mother and so on, but the other boy was dead there. Killed him, yeah.
Sad story.
Sad.
Yeah. And when you came here, so you took a ship from Paris. And you came to, where did the ship land?
What do you call that?
Halifax?
Yeah, Halifax.
Do you remember?
12 days almost there.
Yes, 12 days. Was it an easy voyage or a hard voyage?
What do you mean easy?
Did your trip go well? You were fine during the...
No problem.
Everything
only
went
got
fine?
seasick, that's all.
But some people got seasick?
Not used to it, seasick, car sick. I used to get that for a long time till I got over it.
It was a big journey, right? From Velushina to come to Canada. So when you came to Canada from Halifax, how did you come to Toronto?
Train.
Yes.
I was thinking whether the bus or it was a train, yeah.
Okay, and the train, where did the train land in Toronto?
Union Station.
Right?
Yeah,
and can you tell us about your meeting with was your father there? Who was waiting for you?
He was waiting for us and took us, and he had rented a house. He didn't buy a house later on, he bought one, but my gosh, so lived in a...
Yes, so
I'm forgetting some things, I guess, yeah.
No, that's okay. So basically, when you saw your father, you hadn't seen him for more than 10 years. How was that
He
reunification.
greeted us beautifully, all of us, you know. Yeah.
Were you excited?
He used to take me from restaurant to restaurant, show me to his friends, the relatives, and so on.
So he was so happy to have his family reunited at last.
Yeah.
Great. Did you remember? So he arranged for you to come, and you came here. What work did your father do when he was in Canada and you reunited with him?
My father, restaurant business opened up.
He had his own restaurant?
He opened the old restaurant right on Sinclair. When we was in the States, I don't remember that.
Your uncle, with your uncle.
With my uncle, yeah. His brother, like, they opened the restaurant.
So your father and your uncle opened a restaurant here in Toronto?
Yeah, right.
Do you know what it was called? Or where it was?
Yeah, Sinclair, just east of Dufferin, the Esquire Grill.
The Esquire Grill.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a big restaurant, yeah.
It was a big restaurant?
And they have the chef, Chris Balaka, from what city was he from?
Not from Velushina?
No, from Greek Park.
From Macedonia, from
Yeah.
the Aegean part.
But he was the
Okay.
chef. He was the chef there.
Good. And when you came here, what did you do? You were almost 14?
Almost 14. Just went to public school here too. They put me in the public school, grade 3, where we had 2, and I finished it. We finished public school within 4 years. Over here, 8 years. Everything they show on board there, I put the figures in. I said, the teacher comes over and say, "Aren't you do your homework?" "Well, you got it done already." They put something else. "You got it done already." Then they put me in another grade, higher. Do the same thing. I had them all done.
This was for math?
For everything, for math, for everything, I had them done there. They didn't keep me long in public school, finished, but I didn't go to high school after. That was my education. But I was really good at math.
Yes.
Figures and so on. Was good there.
And how did you learn English?
Took me quite a while. But I learned by the young people get this and that. Well, I learned that, yeah.
And tell us where you lived at this time?
That time,
When you first
when we
came to
came here?
Canada, yes?
I still remember the address, 282 Oakwood Avenue in Sinclair Avenue. Oakwood and Sinclair.
Oakwood and Sinclair.
Yeah.
And did your parents, like did your mother go to school to learn English, or did your father know English? What was that situation?
My father knew English, but my mother no. She didn't. In fact, I'm going to make you laugh a little bit, but she didn't speak English. Only one word she knew English. I'll say it what it was. I'm in the kitchen there, and the salesman comes at the front door, open the door, and he keeps talking and talking and talking. Finally he stops, and she says to him, "No speak English." Now she tells me, says he took off. I'm laughing in the kitchen. This is a true story, like you know.
True story. So your mother stayed at home and looked after the children.
Yeah, she looked after, but I lost my father, he was 52, and my mother lived to 95 here. No luck, yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice old age.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what, you lived in St. Clair area, you mentioned. What church did you go to? Was there any Macedonian churches at that time?
Well, that time was the churches that I started going, St. George and Kirill and Methodi. I was married in Kirill and Methodi. Yeah, and there. And then we started this one here, build City Clement. Later on, yeah, later.
So the Saint Kirill and Methodi, that was where you got married?
And Trinity Street.
Trinity Street. And
way down.
Right. And what year did you get married in?
What year?
Yes.
1948, February the 8th.
So in 1948, that was the only church that was...
That was Kirill and Methodi.
Yes.
City Clement wasn't built yet.
Right. And who were the people that went to that church, Saint Kirill and Methodi? Were they mostly from Velushina, or?
Oh yeah, from Velushina, from Dimfeld. That was the only one that we belonged. We didn't go to other ones there. We didn't go to Serbia and didn't go to That's why many times I said, you know, when I was delivering meat delivered from restaurant to restaurant, I used to try to collect some donation. They had the receipt from the church and so on. Don't do that. Don't call yourself, you're not Macedonian. Here I said, like my dad used to say, plači, cry in your own grave, don't cry someone else's grave. And I says, I don't defend the Jews, I said, he says, but they'll say, I came from Russia, I came from Poland, but I'm Jewish. Doesn't sell himself to something else, you know. And most of them, they didn't give much, $20, $30, $10, whatever they give. I give receipt from the church. They said, every night we had meeting for the church. I drive all the way down to meetings.
This is when you started to organize for the St. Clement.
Yeah.
Okay. But when you went to St. Cyril and Methody, the people who went there, were they Macedonians? Were all of them Macedonians?
All of them, most of them Macedonian. There's no.
There were not Bulgarians, a lot of Bulgarians?
Well, some of them, that's why I call it, but most of them are Macedonians, yeah.
And there were Macedonians from all the different parts of Macedonia?
From the Greek part, from our part, and different, but all Macedonians.
They were Macedonians, yes. And so as you learned the language, you said you didn't go you didn't go to school or didn't have the opportunity to go to school afterwards in high school. What did you continue to do? Did you work?
I worked when they opened the restaurant. I was like a waiter, helping out, wash dishes, this and that. Then later on, Luba's father was in the meat business, delivering meat from to the restaurants and so on. Then at 3 years, that's all he was. He had enough. He said, I retire. I'm not going to do this business. But anyway, customers, kept phoning him. No. Then he comes over to me and says, would you like to take over my business? They keep phoning me for it. I say, I've never been in butcher business before.
What kind of business?
Butcher, meat business.
Butcher,
like,
okay.
I'm driving the truck, deliver meat, go to Canada Packers, load up the truck and deliver meat for this. Well, try it, he says, for a week or two. If you don't like it, leave it. So he took me, introduced me to the Packers, where he used to this, all that there. And I started it. He said, try it for a week. And it wasn't a week, it was 40 years that I said that.
So you worked at the meat packers, is that what it was called?
Yeah, but I didn't work there. I would go with my truck, load up the meat there and deliver to the restaurants, you know. Then finally I packed it in after 40 years. Enough is enough.
So you started to work with your father in the restaurant and then continued with the, what company was that?
Sell the Mike Smiths, they call it, mine at that time. But I buy from Canada Packers and Swifts and the rest of them, that pork product, all the companies up there which are wiped out now in Sinclair and area.
Also, that was your own company?
Yeah, my own company.
Meat company?
Meat company, yeah.
And you delivered to all the restaurants?
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Okay. Now, in terms of, maybe you can tell us first about how you met your wife and how you got married, and her name.
How I met her? At the church, the hall. And her family knew my family so well that when I took her home there, Mile, Nadim Poisa did that? What's how that's it? They were after me more than her.
They liked you a lot, her family. That was a good thing.
That's because our village, we had what they call a flour mill, Vodensa they call it there.
Yes.
We used to take wheat then, make the flour then, so on. And they lived in Parodin. Parodin is just east of Velushina, they know. And my dad was there with a wagon, from the coming, 60% of our land was in Parodin, the other in Velushina. He saw his mother there, her mother, with a bag of wheat there to take us out to the mills there. And they said, what are you doing there? I said, well, I got, leave it there. Go pick it up, put it there. He brought it back to him. she couldn't get over. She kept telling them about how could they do that? How could it's so nice? That's why they were after.
So from then on, they liked your family.
The men in Velushina said they could treat their wives. They did it, but they were after me. And she was not even 17 when I met her. Yeah.
So she was very young. And how old were you?
I was 21.
21.
20, yeah.
And you met at which church?
At the church, St. Here.
Was St.
We used to go to St. George first. If there's no girls there, it's to run over to St. Cyril Methodist.
So you had a choice.
Go back to they used to go down with the streetcar. That was there.
Yes, you used the streetcar. Okay, and tell us a little bit about with your wife where you lived when you first got married.
First house we bought. My gosh,
3.5 years with your parents.
yeah, we lived 3 years with my mother. Yeah. Then I bought a house on the Eglinton, Dufferin area there.
Yes.
Eglinton area.
Were there many Macedonians in that area, Eglinton and Dufferin at that time?
There was some, not that many, mostly Italian that area down there. But
Yes.
anyway, makes me think the difference in price around the price. Home, $4,300. Depression days.
4,300 to
Yeah.
buy a house. Uh-huh.
My gosh.
Things have changed.
Yes, that's it, yeah.
That's right. And so, can you tell us about your family? How many kids you have? And
Yeah, like I have 4 kids, like three boys and a girl, and 9 children,
9 grandchildren.
grandchildren,
Wow.
and 2 great grandchildren.
Congratulations.
Real deal.
That's nice. Very nice.
Yeah. My oldest boy is a teacher, like he retired now, 66 years, 65. My gosh, yeah. Like I was at the church one time, there was something going on, and I go to the bar over there to get a drink, and Michael, what are you still working? How can I be working? I said, well, my son retired already. They started to laugh.
Yeah. Do you know the address of your first house where you lived?
With my mother?
When you bought your house? You bought your house after you lived with your mother?
Was it 14, Lou? I forgot.
4 Miranda.
4, yeah. 4 Miranda.
Miranda. And whereabouts is Miranda Street?
Just east of Dufferin.
East of Dufferin.
No, west of Dufferin.
West of Dufferin?
Yeah. West, about a block or 2 west of Dufferin.
Okay. And so your wife's name is?
Luba.
Lubica. And her last name, maiden name?
Vasilev.
Lubica Vasilev.
Vasilevich. But
Vasilevich?
they changed it, I don't know.
They changed
First
it
went
up.
on to Serbia, then back to Vasilev.
Right.
Yeah.
So Luba was busy with the children, raising
Yeah.
the family, and you were busy with your own
Yeah,
business,
yes,
meat business.
She looks after the house and the children, and yeah.
Did you belong in any organizations or churches at that time while the kids were growing up?
No, that was German church. Methodian and Sveti George, both of them are going.
So you used to go to both
To
churches?
both of them until we started St. Clement. Before that, that was my place for dancing and so on.
Yes.
But
And
they used to have a Sunday night dances there. Nearly, yeah.
every
They
Sunday?
don't do it anymore. Every Sunday we still go down there.
Yes, we should do it more
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
young people. That's right. Now, you know, you went to both churches and you participated, but then at one point you were very, very involved with starting the Macedonian Church St. Clement. Can you tell us how that idea came into being?
Well,
Because we see
I
a
was
wonderful
very-
plaque here that says you're one of the founder award for in recognition of your standing and dedication in the creation of the Macedonian Orthodox Cathedral St. Clement of Ohrid, and it was presented to you in 2005. But tell us how the idea started and how you got involved.
Well, the bishop from the old country was here, another priest, and King Edward Hotel was about 40 of us members that were involved and interested into starting the church there,
So you had a meeting at King Edward's
King Edward
Hotel.
we had there, and somehow they were after me to be the treasurer
Yes.
Costa Andrew started out. The Spiro about it, the rest of them was it somehow. So while they're talking about it, they decided, I said to them, I think you gotta go to the washroom. So I thought maybe I'll go by the time they'll pick someone there, because, you know, I go and they're waiting for me. We want you to block anything, but listen, I say, I don't have the experience about this. You don't have the experience, but we trust you, we're behind you, all of us, you know, because they always said that, they tell me. So I said, okay, then every night meetings get there, driving
Yes.
back and forth.
So who was in that first executive committee? They chose you to be the treasurer. Who were the other members in the executive committee
there's
that started
over
the
40 people
idea of the
that time.
church?
Over 40 people there was that time.
But mostly the 4 or 5 people were yourself.
Well, they've selected us. Well, like I said, all the Paul Basil is in there.
Paul
too.
Basil, yes.
Spiro Sanders,
Spiro Sanders,
Costa Andrews.
Costa Andrews,
His son, the lawyer, he was Bill Andrews. His pictures on there too.
Bill Andrews,
And
Van Petrov.
Van Petrov was a very good. I used to supply him with some meat when he was the catering business. You know, he used to the weddings. He did our wedding. I think wasn't it, Lou?
Not ours, our kids.
Yeah, you're right. No, he wasn't. But
Yes. So Van Petrov was also in the committee at the beginning.
oh yeah, he
Yeah,
was.
from the beginning. Great. And we didn't miss anybody, right? Those were the main people.
There's quite a few, like I said, about 40. There's Jimmy
Basil,
Saunders, and
Jimmy Saunders.
yeah,
Was it Paul Basil?
Paul Basil. Yeah,
Yes.
Paul Basil. Yeah. Paul Basil was in the name too. With that.
Yes, he's mentioned in the plaque as well. So tell us how that committee worked. You said lots of meetings.
Lots of meetings. Yeah, lots of work, lots of meetings, and I was the busiest guy, I think, doing all the delivering, collecting, and every time we get together, I put some donations there and so on, and they were all behind me.
So tell us how you got your donations again, because you were doing the meat delivery,
Yeah, I did the meat deliver to all the restaurants,
and most of them were Macedonian, where you delivered your
Macedonian, but they
meat.
were pulling on Greek side, like I said, like one on Runnymede and Dundas restaurant. They're from Greek part. They worked for us when we had the restaurant too. They opened a restaurant there. When there's two brothers there. I say Andy, Louis. Louis was the older one. He was really a Greek part, you know. Andy, I said, there's something. Say, I'll give you a receipt. So he gave me $20, but not to put his name, just to $20 donations, but give it to him. Then I go to his brother Louis. I say, Louis, I should gonna do something for the church. No, he says, I go to the, well, you're not like your brother. Your brother gave me $20 and I made him a receipt. Louis, what was his last name? Forgot. #1 Macedonian. As I get there, no, it was. I was a shit. At that age, I guess we kind of play little tricks there.
Yeah,
But from place to place, and so many, and that's why I said to them. That's when I started saying to them about the Jews. I don't defend them. I said, well, see, I come from Poland, I come from Russia, different countries, but I'm Jewish. Doesn't change his religion, doesn't change his nationality.
Yes.
He is what he is, you know. Nice, some of them this, some of that.
yes. And when did the fundraising start
The fundraising for
the church, St. Clement?
to be honest with you, it's been so long, I don't remember exactly the dates it was, but when we started that, and it was quite a while. And
Yes, and
I don't
it was a
know.
couple of years before the church got made? Is that
oh yeah, even before that, yeah.
2,
Done it,
3 or
yeah.
4 years?
Yeah.
When you
We bought
started?
the land first, then we built it up there.
Right.
Empty lot first. And if we had a little more money, not too much help that time. There was another lot next to us for sale, but not enough money. That is so good. If we had bought that one, we could have sold it for $1 million after that. Those days, you know, everything was cheaper. That's close to 60 years. What is that?
So tell us about it. How did you find the money to buy the land initially?
We got together, like I said, all the rest of us, we all donated, put some money there, and we bought the land
With
first.
your own donations and
With
donations
with
from
our
everybody
own,
else?
With our own, like, in a committee, like not only us five that are in there, but the rest of the committee, some more, some less, were there. And we bought the land. We bought the land, then we made the plans to build it right on there.
And who did you buy the land from?
To be honest with you, I don't remember that company's name. They probably have it on the books at home, but I don't remember exactly. Yeah.
Right. Yes. And so you bought the land, and then you started the fundraising
Fundraising, yeah. Exactly. Yeah,
to build it. Did the bank require any kind of guarantee?
We got money, we signed at the bank to get money from them. We were responsible, and we signed, some of them signed their house, whatever, like to get money to get us started.
So a lot of people put their houses as collateral?
We got it, we paid it back to the bank and everything, but that's how we started, and little by little. Like I said, things were a lot cheaper those days. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Was there a lot of Macedonians who put up their houses as collateral?
Not too many. Mostly the committee that were on there, but we managed that, you know. After a while, we're getting members, you know, and so on. They donate a little, donate that. And now it's the busiest church there is. Every weekend they have something going on, and christenings and dances, and
yes,
it's the busiest place now.
It is.
Yeah.
It is very busy, yes,
Yeah.
and constantly getting renovated, which is also good. So once the church started to be built, how did you go about finding a priest for the church?
The priests, like I said, with all the bishops, Atanas was the first one that came, and the one, you got the picture of that. I used to drive him from place to place, from house to house, to cross the, cross the voda, what they say.
To bless the houses,
I used
yes?
to drive, it was a full-time job for me there.
Okay.
From house to house, Then they arranged, brought another priest over there, and they were good. They were good, yeah.
Great. And do you remember, Mile, how much the land cost at that time?
Oh, shucks, I don't remember exactly that. But it wasn't very much, like I said. Nowadays it's very expensive.
Yes.
To be honest, I don't remember the exact amount or it was, yeah.
Okay, and how about once the church got built? What was, can you remember what was the most memorable part? As the church was being built or as it opened? Did you have like a big celebration?
Big celebration. We did, yeah. Opening day, the church was packed outside, inside, a busy place, yeah.
And a lot of happy people?
A lot of happy people, yeah.
That they were happy because we finally have
Exactly, yeah.
Macedonian church.
Macedonian church, yeah.
And Macedonian priests.
Macedonian church, and I used to say to them, just to have one name, not two names in there, like, how they say Macedonia, Greco, Bulgaria, Macedonia, one name. I was going with that name. No.
And everybody was proud.
They're like that, yeah.
We finally had a Macedonian
They were all
church.
behind me that way, yeah. Like as I went to the Serbian school, everything Serbian, our religion is the same. Not one Serbian steps in our church, why should I go in theirs, They look at me. But it's true, the same religion, but they don't go there. Before we didn't have our own, we have to go somewhere where it's close to you to have baptized or,
Yes.
Yeah, that's the way it was, yeah. But deep down, we won.
Yes. And what happened afterwards in terms of your involvement? The church got built. Were you still treasurer? Tell us how that developed.
The treasurer,
How long were you treasurer?
5 years until was completed everything. All the builders and so on, they come to give me the bills and I make the checks and I sign it and I go to the president. Either Van Petrov or Kosta Andros was the president for a while. Spiro Sanders was for a while, but he gave it up. Andros was really in charge of the But I remember, but some things I forget.
Well, you remember a lot. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. So you were basically, you had the big job of being the treasurer while the church was being
All the
built?
was completed, built and everything, then hand them over. I used to have a big, when the hall was packed, I had to go on stage and announce the names, what they donate, what they did, and so on, who and so on, then that, and they give me a good hand and so on. Yeah.
Great. So you were very much involved in the
Very much
fundraising
involved in
and
that.
in,
That's why I
in
say
keeping the
like,
books.
I cannot try to let them pick someone else because I don't have the experience in it, but we know you. And that Costa Andrews, apparently, he came in the same boat with my father from the old country. Our village next to each other. He says, I want that Mille de Maitin Day. Says, I trust a family that do this. I give my life into this. Then I go in the washroom, like I said, to pick someone up. No, I came back with it for me.
It was meant to be for you, and it's a great honor to know that you you had such a big
5
responsibility because to get a church like that built
Yeah.
at that time
5
was
years,
certainly not easy, and you had a big part
Yeah,
in
we
getting the financial situation in
Yeah.
order.
Like we were there with Luba on Thursday in noon hour, lunchtime, they give for seniors and all that, you know.
Yes,
We went there, we're sitting together with Jimmy Sanders. Jimmy Sanders, you know Jimmy Sanders.
yes, yes.
He was involved with the United Macedonia and so on, and we're sitting, and he says, see all those people here, he says, they don't know what you've done for this church, what you've done. They don't even know you, he said. I said, they weren't around maybe. I said, I don't know. I said, but the odd one would come, hey, but not too many remember me.
Because it was so long
Yeah,
ago,
it's been
and
so long,
maybe
yeah.
their parents would remember you
Yeah,
very
yeah,
much.
yeah.
That's
And
right.
I don't go every Sunday like I used to now. You know, at my age, 89 years, I don't want to go too long, too much. But on special occasions, we go. We go.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
wonderful. Can you tell us, Mile, in terms of your contribution, all the things that you achieved in your life, what are you most proud of?
Well, most of them that donated more like that and so on, and they signed and says it, all they got their money back later. We signed, like I said, at the bank, got the loan from the bank there, but we guarantee that the money is going to be looked after, you know. And when the church got going there, they released the money and returned it.
Yes. Do you remember, as you were when you were younger, about the social life the social life for young Macedonian couples? Were you involved in any of the activities that married couples were involved in, like from before St. Clement's,
Not too many.
like the bowling club?
Yeah, like the bowling. There was a Macedonian soccer team there playing one time.
And you were involved in that?
I was going to see them. I remember George Brown was playing for them one time, and we're playing the Greeks there. You know George Brown, I think,
Yes,
too, yeah.
yes, we interviewed
And
him
he was
last
very
time.
good. I was a numco for his youngest son, Danny, you know.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, he hit that ball so hard, one of the Greek players went put it in inside.
Really? So between 1955 and 1980, there was a bowling club for young Macedonian couples?
Yeah, I wasn't involved in that, though. No, no.
We did play.
Yeah.
But you played a little bit?
Oh, yeah, bowling, yeah. We used to go bowling with a group differently, you know, but
And what group was that?
friends of ours that close by
Were they
neighbors and so-
Macedonians?
Yeah, Macedonians.
So they were all Macedonians and you were bowling together
Yeah.
like regularly?
That's right.
Okay, that's great. And Mile, with respect to your to the new generation coming up now, we have young Macedonians who are just beginning to get involved in social activities and into the Macedonian community. What advice would you have for them?
My boys and girls, all of them, they all asked him Macedonia, Canada, but if you ask them nationality, Macedonian. Always go to church. And I got 4 of them married. One is Ukrainian girl, one is American, Name the other one. Janice.
Janice Canadian,
Kennedy.
English
Yeah.
descent.
How about Liv?
Liv is our
From
grandson's
Brazil.
wife.
From Brazil.
Yeah, but she's Japanese.
Four of them, all different, United Nation, I got it.
So you have the United Nation.
But they all go to our church. Yeah. They're all involved in that. If there's something they have to do, they go there.
So your children, your grandchildren still
Yeah.
have ties to the Macedonian
Yeah.
community, and they're continuing
Oh, yeah.
to go to
They-
St. Clement?
They follow us, yeah, they do that.
Mm-hmm.
They're good.
That's great. That's wonderful. And maybe to end our interview, you came to Canada when you were only 14 years old. And
1 month short of 14.
1 month short of 14, and you spent your whole life in Canada, and
Canada,
you've had a
Canada.
very successful life, both professionally
Professionally, yeah.
and socially. You
Yes,
were
socially.
involved in the
Very much,
community.
yeah. Very much, yeah.
Yes. What would you like to tell the young people for the future? How they should, what is important for them to do in order to be successful members of society?
Not very much. I tell them, like, like my oldest grandson, he goes quite a bit with the boys, young boys and so on to play. I said, use your head. I said, don't mix with people that do bad things. People that use drugs or some, don't do that. I said, if someone comes, gives you some dope, some drugs, and you say no, and if they say, what's the matter, you're a chicken? You tell them, I say, you'd rather be a live chicken than a dead duck. He looks at me. He remembers that, what I said. Remember, Lou, what
Yes.
Zachary?
Well, I'm sure your grandson is going to remember, and that's wonderful advice for all the young
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
because that's very true. We have to make sure that we're safe and
Yeah.
on the right path in
Yeah,
terms
yeah.
of being good citizens.
You're a very good interviewer.
You're a very good person to interview. Thank you so much. Now we also we're lucky to have your wife here, Luba.
Oh, Luba,
So
yeah.
Luba is going to join us.
I'm proud of her.
Wonderful.
She spoils me till we're done.
Uh-huh. Mila, you told us that you're very proud of your wife, Luba Vasiliev Neshevich. Taka?
Yeah.
And Luba's here to tell us a little bit about her story. And welcome, Luba.
Thank you.
Can you tell us, Luba, about your birthplace and when you were born?
My birthplace is Parodin, Macedonia. I was born in 1930 and immigrated to Canada in 1936 with my older sister, Ilinka, but they changed her name to Helen when she went to school. They never changed mine, would have been easier. And my mother, Tsana, Ristana, and myself, the three of us came together in 1936. We landed in Quebec City.
Did you come with a boat or with a plane?
Plane. Not in those days.
Not in those days.
No, this is the 30s, the early 30s.
Right.
And we came from Quebec City to Toronto by train and came to Union Station. It was the first time my father saw me, and first time I saw him, and I thought, what a handsome guy, you know, oh, just this big, blonde, blue-eyed man. He was just gorgeous. But the first night that we went home, he kind of gave me a good whack because I was used to sleeping with my mother. I was my mother's baby.
Yes.
And he put me to sleep in another room with my sister, which I didn't get along with all that well.
Right.
I think I was a bit of a devil too. So we didn't hit it off really well the first day.
It was the first time you had seen your father.
That was
no
the first
wonder.
time we
Right.
met each other, and then
Takes
9 months.
time.
9 months later, my sister Mary was born. So kind of
You figured it out.
yeah, there was, but it was very nice. But my mother was very upset that she had a third daughter. She did not like the idea of having another daughter. My father says, no. Seque Chupeshoni serode so kasmet mi nosat.
Oh, that's nice. That's
Yeah.
nice. And can you tell us your father's name?
My father's name is Risto, Chris Vasilovich. At the end, when we buried him, he had changed his name to Vasilovich rather than Vasilov. I don't know why or when. I don't remember. And his father's name was Vasil, and that's where we got the Vasilovich from. And my mother's father's name was
Kandilov?
no, Solomon. His last name was Solomon. And Spiro was his first name. And my mother's name was Katerina. So I have a niece that was named after her.
And when you came to Canada, first of all, how long was your father in Canada before
He brought
everybody?
over. Well, my father came to Canada in, I would say, probably the mid-20s, in 25, 26. And then he went back to the old country in 1929 because my mother was having some kind of problem with the land deals or something. And he did not notify the Canadian government that he's going back. So when he wanted to come back into the country, he didn't want to use his name. He took his father's name, Vasil, and made it Vasilov. A new immigrant again.
So he came with another name. Okay.
Yeah. And he left my mother pregnant for me. And he came back in 1930, and he brought us over in 1936. My mother did not want to come to Canada because my dad, when he went back, bought some more land and bought a cow and, fixed up the house. And Daddy says, no, you have to come to Canada. And she goes, well, my house is nice. And he says, no, Germania, que pravi drug boy. In 1935,
He was good in politics.
he really was interested.
So your father knew there was going to be
Yes.
another war. This
He
is
says you
the
have
Second
to.
Second World War coming up.
Yeah.
Because that was 1935, and then a year
Yeah.
later it started.
Yeah. And my father says, you have to come over. So we came then. And we landed in Union Station. It was a very short TTC ride to where we lived, where he rented a house in Cabbagetown. It was just very, very, not even a 10-minute walk from the house that we lived in to St. Cyril and Methodist Church on Trinity. The street we lived on was called Wilkins. And as I mentioned to you earlier, my mother had my sister Mary at home. My father was there for the delivery. Then he phoned Dr. Marlin to say, my wife just had a baby girl. Can you come and make some papers? And Dr. Marlin came very, very upset. He says, you don't do that in Canada. You have your children in the hospital and everything will be official.
But your mother was used to having
Yeah,
the
she
children
had-
at home, like
that's
in
right.
Macedonia,
Yeah.
in the village.
Exactly.
And what street were you on?
Wilkins. it
Wilkins.
was
Were there
called.
many Macedonians at that time?
Mostly Macedonian. Nearly all of them were Macedonian. That's why it was a little difficult, especially for my older sister, to learn English because everybody spoke Macedonian on that street because it was a very short, dead-end street. And I think there was only maybe 2 Ukrainian families besides us, all Macedonians.
And the doctor was also Macedonian,
He
Dr.
was
Malin?
Yes, he was.
And was he the same doctor for everybody?
He was universal.
Yes.
To all the Macedonians. And the thing, if I'm not mistaken, he was a priest first. And then he went and got his doctorate. And then my dad started up a business. My father was a very clever man. I didn't think so when I was a kid, but he was very smart.
What kind of business did he start?
Linen supply.
Okay.
He used to supply, and right up until I'd say to about the late 50s, waitresses used to wear uniforms and little caps.
Yes.
The waiters wore jackets and aprons and all the supply for the kitchen help, the hats and the aprons and the coats and everything. And that's what he did.
He started his own business?
He started his own
And-
business.
Supply the restaurants with the aprons, coats, everything like that.
And
Yes.
what was the name of the business?
Maple Leaf Linen.
Maple Leaf Linen, yes.
You've
Name
heard of it?
sounds very familiar, yes.
And then they got together with a few other people that were in the same business, a Jewish couple and Italians, and they made this place, they called it Associate Linen Supply, because they were all together in that one business.
Mhm.
And this is, now we're talking about during the war. The war started then. There
The
was
Second World War?
Yeah. Not enough help, so I had to go from school to the laundry, stay there and work there until 6 o'clock. They worked from 8 o'clock to 6 o'clock. 8 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock. And I'd walk back home again, which was not that far, but not close either.
Was his business with Bill Dimoff?
Oh no, Bill Dimoff came much later.
Much later?
Yes, my father was already retired from that business.
And how about yourself? How did you continue when you came to Canada? You were only 6 years old. How did you learn the language, and what was life like for you?
Well, first of all, we moved from Wilkins to Mutual Street, where there was no Macedonian. So.
And where is Mutual Street?
It is, I would say, maybe about 5 blocks east of Yonge Street,
Okay.
near Shooter. You know where Shooter is?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we were there for a few years, and you had to either speak English or get beat up.
Okay. So you learned fast.
Oh, very quickly, very quickly.
You learned very quickly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And from there, my father moved us from Mutual Street up to Brock Avenue.
Is that because you bought a new house, or?
That was the first house my dad bought.
Uh-huh.
It was on Brock Avenue. It's 1 block west of Dufferin Street.
Were there Macedonians then?
There was a few, yeah. My father had an uncle who was a few blocks away from where we were, and there was another family on Dufferin Street, the Yanakis. There was a few, enough to keep my mother happy.
Okay. And how about yourself? You continued with your schooling until when? Tell us about that.
I went to school till I was 15.
Mhm.
And
then?
Then my father took me out of school, and I worked at the laundry.
Did you want to continue your schooling?
I didn't want to go to schooling because, again, he moved us again, and I didn't know anybody. When you move a child at a young teenage, they don't make friends very easily.
Yes.
And so I went to work after that.
What grade did you finish?
8.
You finished grade 8.
Yeah, because I started school at 6, and they put me in kindergarten. I started I was 7 when I went into grade 1. I failed grade 3, finished school at 15, and that was that.
And your father, you mentioned, had some ideas about not letting you continue.
No, he didn't. My father did not believe in educating girls. My youngest sister, Mary, she went to school, and she went to high school, which was more than what we got with Helen. And every year, when school would be let out, she'd get a job. And when September would come, my father would say, "You're not going back to school, Mary." So she'd phone me and crying, and I'd go with my 2 babies over to where my mother and father lived, and Tata, please let Mary go to school. It makes me emotional.
Yeah, it's difficult. Yeah.
Anyway, she finished high school.
She did finish high school.
She did.
Yes. So
And my brother not only finished university, became a professor at Ryerson in interior design.
yes.
So it goes to show you the generations how they move along.
Yes. The thinking has changed, luckily.
Thank God.
Many Macedonian educated women today.
Many very
Yes.
intelligent women. I give them a lot of credit.
And tell us about your life with Mike.
My life with Mike has been wonderful. I had 4 children. Didn't plan on that many, but they came along. And
You raised a beautiful child. Listen,
I'm proud of them.
respect the
Yeah.
mother. No,
I'm very proud of them.
she's been good every way.
Yeah.
Tell us about your kids.
Well, my oldest son did not want to go to grade 13 here in Canada, so he went to the States, down to Akron, Ohio, to go to university to have a jump on. And while he was down there, he met an American girl. He came back to go to university here in Toronto. He went to University of Toronto, and she followed him. And Mike did not approve of her because she was not Macedonian.
She's a good girl.
And my mother says, "Don't worry, Bob. If you marry the girl, you can live with me."
Oh,
Yeah, see that? She gave him
she was a
encouragement.
very
Yeah.
encouraging grandmother. Yes.
And she went to University of Toronto, and so they finished school together, and they have a very nice life. Rick was my second son. He met his wife in high school. They were together for a few years before they were married. The one thing that's funny, maybe I'm rambling.
No, you're not. Please, go on.
Rick used to work too. The kids, they always got jobs on their own. I did not encourage it. They wanted to have their own pin money. So he would get his pay. Within 3 days it was gone. Spent it like nothing. So he was the only one. I says, "Rick, if you're not going to save any money, I'm going to charge you rent." So I took his money, and I put in. And one time, big mistake on Luba's part, I says, "Rick, look at this bank book, $700. That's the money that you could have saved that I put in the bank for you." Oh, he was so happy. So him and Barbara went to Mexico with that money.
Yeah.
But he said to me, "Mom, don't worry, because this is the girl I'm going to marry." And they were still in high
Ukrainian
school.
girl, wonderful
and she was
family.
Ukrainian descent. Her family's from Winnipeg originally. And then my daughter came third. Joanne was born 1958. She did something that I really did not approve of. She was going with this young German-Canadian boy. Wanted to marry him.
Can't win them all.
I give her a good argument. Didn't work. So
Didn't work out.
we made the wedding. She had 2 little girls, and they divorced.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
More
You're
often,
right. You're right.
yes, than
Yeah.
not. Yes.
I said, "Joanne, why did you go with Reiner? We had fun together," she said.
So you have one daughter
The one daughter.
And-
Three sons.
and 3 sons.
And my youngest
Your
son, Michael, was born 1963. I got pregnant right after we started the church there.
Yes, I was going to ask you about
Yeah.
your recollection of starting the church. So that was around 1963 that you started?
No, it was closer to 1961. Yeah, because I got pregnant after we started to get money to buy
Yes.
the land and everything.
Yes, tell us a little bit about that. Mile gave us a good description on how he was volunteered to be the treasurer, which is a huge job for a committee that starts something big like a church, building of a church. Tell us what that was like for you as the wife of the treasurer.
It was very nice because I was right into it too. I really enjoyed being into it, and a few times we had services at the Geleva Hall. Do you remember Geleva Hall?
Yes, I remember the Geleva Hall existing.
And the west end of Toronto. We had services there, and then from there we started making services at Thorncliffe Plaza. And Mike had to go early. Him and a few other men take out the iconi and make up an altar.
Yes.
And that's where
So pick up the priest to take him there every day.
Yeah. And that's where my Michael was baptized in a little baby bathtub.
Right,
in
at
Thorncliffe Plaza. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And what do you remember as the activities of big fundraising activities for the church that you were involved in?
Well, we did a lot of things.
I think she was the first president of the Ladies
Yes.
Auxiliary.
Tell us about that.
Well, because we used to get together in each other's homes all the time. We didn't
Yes.
have a church, so one time we were at our house, and Zorka Basil said, we have to elect a women's ladies auxiliary president. And she says, since we're here, why don't we make Luba president? And I go, because I had a baby and 3 other kids.
Yes.
Anyway, they made me president then,
And
which
this was
nice.
1962?
No, it would be later than that because Michael was already born. It would be about 1963.
Okay.
And The ladies' auxiliary did a lot. We used to have big bazaars, and everything was homemade.
Where did you have your bazaars?
At Thorncliffe Plaza.
Mm-hmm.
We used to make it there. And a lot of us had cottages together at Georgian Bay. So every night we'd get together and we'd be sewing and knitting and crocheting and making things. And it was, the whole summer was for the bazaar.
And that's what I was going to say. How did you advertise? How did people know about these events?
Because of the ladies' auxiliary.
Yes.
We'd made quite a bit of money for the church. We used to raise a lot because we home-baked goods and handmade towels, and everything was handmade. It was very, very nice. We did really well. We did very well.
And so in 1963, around 1963, when the fundraising was going on, you were the Ladies Auxiliary President.
Yes, I was.
And then how long was your job until the church got built, or was there another committee elected after that?
No, it was built, and after that we started.
1965 it was built.
I think so. Yeah, I think it was 65. Yeah. And then we started having elections to who to elect for president. It's my oldest son is almost 14 years older than my youngest son. So we'd go to church and leave Bob in charge of Michael. And the poor kid had to change his diapers. In those days, it wasn't throwaway diapers, it was cloth diapers.
It was the real diaper.
And poor Bob had to clean them and everything. But he was really good about it, you know. Because we spent a lot of time in different meetings. And
did you have a nice community feeling with all the people that you worked with?
Oh, we had a good time.
Yeah.
We really enjoyed being together and doing things together.
What kind of social events did you have?
Well, mostly the Ladies Auxiliary would make Valentine's dance, and they'd make a Easter dance, and
it's still the same.
It just continued.
The tradition has continued.
It just continued, but the thing, I think the majority of the people that were in the church involvement in those days, a lot of them have passed on.
Yeah.
So
their children are involved to some extent.
Not an awful lot of them. I think the new immigrants have taken over. The ones from Vardetska mostly has taken over that. And when we go to church now, I don't think I recognize the majority of people that are there now. Well, first of all, we don't attend that much.
Right. Now, just about the Ladies Auxiliary when you were president, who were some of the other members on your committee?
Oh, dear me. Tula Bojanis was mixed in it. Lefi, my sister-in-law, his brother's wife.
Mary Kondoff.
Mary Kondoff, Dorothy Trendos. God, there's so many. Helen Mangos, Bojanas Nikolaidis. Her husband was Greek. And Pat Flores, Vanji Flores.
Well, that's great. You gave us quite a lot of names there. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and like I said, we really enjoyed doing what we were doing.
There was a lot of excitement, I hear.
Oh yes, very. We liked being together, and the one good thing is the husbands got along very well, and that means a lot. If the husbands don't like each other, you're not in it either.
That's right. So you got worked together well as a team.
Yes.
And what was the feeling like when the church opened?
Oh my God, you have no idea. It still makes my hair stand up because there were so few people that wanted to work at the church when we were building it, and Easter time, it was one of the times that I thought, we're going to go down to the church now. And my hands were sweating and my mouth was dry. We're going to the church there. And I thought, all the Macedonians from the other churches are going to be laughing at us if we don't have hardly anybody there.
So you were nervous about how many people were going to be there, okay?
When we got there, you couldn't even get in the church. There was that many people.
And how did you feel?
I felt like I was on a cloud. I was so happy. You know, I thought, we did it.
You knew that all the hard work.
It worked. And the thing now, too, is an awful lot of the people that stayed at St. Cyril's and St. George's are starting to come to our church, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in the decline, and we're...
You know who was my assistant as a treasurer those days?
Who was?
Chris Neshevich. His mother's here, I think. Was she still alive?
Yeah, she still lives here, eh? I think so.
In the home?
Yeah,
Canadian Macedonian
102.
place?
Yeah.
102.
Yeah, that's good talk.
That's amazing.
And last time we were here, when I saw her sitting out there, Mike,
She recognized
She remembered you.
Yeah.
Wow, good
He was
memory.
my assistant. He used to count pretty well everything, get the book ready. I'll take it to the bank. I'll pay up this and that. But he used to do most of the work in accounting.
That's right.
He was a good man.
And I know that as Mike was talking about how busy he was with the fundraising, Luba, probably that meant he was out a lot, out of the house. And
No, you know, he did an awful lot of that during his work.
that was lucky.
Yeah, everywhere
Yes.
he went, whether they were Macedonia or Grekomani or Greek. You know, we need money, we're building a church.
Yeah.
And most, although I did have an uncle, Mike and I went to ask him for some money. He was a little bit on the Bulgarian side. And Trnjaki izleze od ta crkva, veli.
Oh yeah, that's what your father asked for. He said,
He did not
"Crkva
believe it would
builda,
ever come.
Trnjetar, yeah."
And I was happy to see he had to come there one time for a wedding, and I thought, hey, Teticha, here you are. You
Yes.
see my church now.
Of course it was. Yeah, what village were they?
Trciani.
Trosiani.
Yeah.
Yeah, Luba, I
Yes.
know that Mike gave us a lot of information earlier about your involvement with the church and also having a business as well, your meat business. Can you tell us, from your perspective, what you think is important in terms of being successful here in Canada?
I'll tell you that I am immensely proud to be a Canadian, and even more proud to be a Macedonian. And my children, even though none of them married a Macedonian, they're very, very proud of their Macedonian roots. And my grandchildren. My grandchildren, I'm surprised, especially the one that has a German father. He lived with us. She lived with us for about, what, a year and a half? Lisa? Lisa.
Yeah.
And one time we were talking with Lisa, and I says, we're so lucky with all our children and grandchildren. Nobody did anything to be ashamed that I would be ashamed of. Oh, Baba, in our family? No.
She's so nice.
She would. Oh, that would never happen.
Yeah.
Oh, so far, so good. Anyway.
Вие двајцата дојдовте во Канада со вашите мајки и немавте многу кога дојдовте тука. Немавте ништо, така. Кажи, што мислите вие двајцата е важно за младата генерација? Што да прави во животот за да биде, за да успее, за да направи нешто во животот? Од ваша страна.
Јас си старата баба, имам две превнучина и му кажам на сите, најважно нешто е фамилијата да се држи со милост и да се крепат, дали е нешто што чини или не чини, да се крепите, да се држите.
And they follow that. Yeah.
And we do. We have my oldest sister married an American soldier during the war. He was a Macedonian from the same village, from Statica, where my parents came from. So she is a true American, and she's got American family and but when we get together, we're all same family, and we get together a lot.
One big Macedonian family.
Exactly. Yeah.
Next weekend going to be a big get together.
Oh, where are you going?
No, our granddaughter's getting married.
On the same day as my birthday. And it's going to be up wedding by the Arkadish on a beach there.
The ceremony is going to be on the
They
beach.
got everything.
Oh, wonderful. That's great. And
Because my daughter lives in Midland, which is close to where our cottage is. So she loves the cottage and she wants to be married on the beach. Don't tell me how we're going to get down there with high heels.
yes, and ti ќе бидиш дедо на свадбата?
Yes.
Dedo.
Dedo.
One of my great grandchildren, they call me Super Dedo
Аха.
and Super Baba. I don't know who taught them to say that. Yeah.
Аха, и за свадбата как може на македонски да кажеш за свадбата каде ќе биде, кога ќе биде?
I think you know more about it. Where did this guy? She keeps all the records.
Yeah.
It's gonna be.
Ќе биде на македонски може да кажеш.
Where the wedding's gonna be?
Да.
Po naši.
Oh, Ponashe, it's gonna be at the lake up there.
Да, на кај езерото.
Езерото.
Кај езерото.
Кај езерото. И шо ќе јадите? Шо ќе јадите? И шо ќе пиете?
Не опитвам нищо. Имам праено 4 свадби, се еднака правя тия свадби. Не ме пита нищо и не му кажувам нищо. Не ќе име гости.
А за играње оро ќе играте?
Oh, yes.
Има и реквиз,
Yes.
има се.
Ќе има специјално
Yeah.
оро за дедо и за баба?
Ако може да се крепиме.
Кој оро го сакаш најповеќе, мајка?
Бувското.
Бувското.
Yeah.
Ќе му кажат на музиката да ти го свират
I
бувското.
think they got records of everything there, you know. But you know, speaking of weddings, this is a happy wedding. They were very looking forward. But when I was a boy,
Кажи на македонски, кога бев мал,
По
по
наши.
наше, ja,
Aha.
по наше кубајаска, одеме да денсаме црква, те ќе се митаја деца од Раков, од другите села, и ќе се запојне, ќе се сасакаја, ќе се свршија.
ќе се земеја.
Свршија, но не чекај, ќе се свршија, се года свадба да прави, тие на грцко што трга, на грцката сака. Вие другите сака на нашта, и ќе се скараја, ќе сторија и break up the engagement. Ќе
На вистина.
Немаше свадба.
Oh, yeah.
So many ставаја до зејс, I remember them. Yeah.
Аха, а ти ни кажа дека многу сакаш да играш. Кажи македонско?
Македонски, ја.
Ja.
Така, Люба?
Ja. Кога беме млади, играме убаво.
Сега се
треба да
крепиме
ме
сега.
крепиме двете страни.
Сега внучињата ќе ве крепат.
Внучињата
Yes.
ќе.
Да,
И
и
сите знае македонски работи, кој ќе се бере ту во наша црква нешто, греде со нас. Внучината и превнучина.
и значи сите убаво
Yes.
оро ќе играте
Yes.
на свадбата.
Ако нема македонска невеста, Елизет, сите ставе да игра оро.
Ќе научиме да игра македонски.
Знаат.
Знаат.
Oh, yes.
And-
And they really like it, they enjoy it.
It's a nice dance. Евреите денсаа исто матио инаку, да нема да форват така.
Аха.
Така се ради.
Е така, и сега сакам многу да ви кажам сполајви, благодариме за вашето време што дојдовте со нас
Сполајте,
тука,
ја.
да ни кажете за вашиот живот, многу
Расправиме
интересни
убаво,
работи.
казаме добро, или не?
Многу убаво кажавте, многу убаво и сега сите знаеме кој беше treasure во црквата и
Ејте,
како црквата
пет-
се направи
5 години, ја.
5 години и дека цело време имавте многу добра
Многу
жена до
добра,
вас да ви
да.
дозволи и да работи со вас
Да.
заедно за да се направи македонската црква.
Изработаме, but we're proud of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my home, my second home.
Wonderful.
Yeah, because we live in Etobicoke.
Yeah.
And тие што се таму ке рече, оти не грејте на Свети Илија, таму поблизу, но а ние куќата тука.
Еви, тамо
Свети
доста
Климент
работа
е
се.
наша.
Ja.
Миле, кажи ни за некои други members што имаше од клубот, што беа исто во црквата, што работевте заедно сите да се направи црквата.
Има фреко што вела.
Can you tell us in English?
На клубо, there was, like I said, Boris, but Palmarov, Spiro Basil, Izabora, quite a few of them, you know, but
And Virginia's father was
Boris, yeah. Remember
Boris,
he had a
last name?
Lazarov. He had a restaurant on Youngstead, and I supplied him with meat. Then he sold it to two brothers, Greek brothers. They used to work for Mercury Restaurant there. They put it Brothers Restaurant after.
Okay.
And they supply
And you
them.
remember supplying meat to
supply
Virginia's
meat,
father's
yeah,
restaurant.
yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's great. Yes. So now I just wanted to take the opportunity to let you know we really appreciate you being here.
And thank you for your
sharing
wonderful
your memories.
interview. And very nicely done.
And you have a wonderful memory. You remember so many details,
Not that
and
many,
we
but-
appreciate it very much. And
Thank
Luba, your input was very important as well.